Hey guys, Rinji here, once again bringing you the worst out of the VTuber community. And today we have a triple whammy. A triple whammy because Brittany Venti is back for the third time, fourth time, fifth time. Who cares at this point? I certainly have lost count how many times she's crawled back from the dead, crawled back from the brink of the destruction of her own career. But this time she doubles down, or triples down this time, on defaming Gura. And apart from making the same points that she made in her previous videos, she also made a bunch of new ones, so let's go through them via her own video.
In case you're wondering why I haven't been streaming, it's because I can't. YouTube has striked my account and rejected my appeal. Even though when YouTube gives you your first community strike, you can't stream, post videos, or make community posts for a week, I can now post videos and make community posts, but I cannot live stream still. I wanted to talk about how YouTube suspended my account. They had permanently suspended my entire account, couldn't access my music, couldn't upload, couldn't post, nothing.
I like that she always censors the word sex or anything that has any kind of negative connotation that YouTube might be bad with, but we're gonna see that's pretty ironic considering what she's gonna get to, because she did an oopsie, and part of this is why she actually got struck in the first place.
And then they reinstated it 2 hours later after everyone started complaining about it. So I went back to remove some age restrictions on some older content, and I had only removed the age restriction off of a few videos, one of which was the video on Gawr Gura. In this video, I spoke out against virtual CP.
3 fucking years and she still hasn't learned how to say Gawr Gura. It's always this Gawr Gura thing with her. I don't think she's doing this on purpose. I don't think this is her quote-unquote troll persona that she claims to have. I think she's just being dumb with this. Or she just doesn't care. I am going with the latter.
Because I explained that having explicit imagery of children in animation form when they look, sound, and act exactly like a child. And I explained that it's basically training your brain to sexualize children, which is very predatory. And the reason that I use Gawr Gura as an example for this is because she has been retweeting explicit imagery of her character for years now, and I pointed this out back 2 years ago in this video as well. I have a problem when you take a character that is a child.
It's not.
Okay, the voice actress isn't a child, but the character she's playing is.
Nope, it isn't. It's not a child. Nowhere does it state it is a child of any kind. It's a character, has a specific age, and nowhere does it refer to of her being any kind of child.
It looks like a child, it sounds like a child, acts like a child. Basically,
none of these things are true. But once again, she just reiterates points here, and again, the way she phrases this, the way she frames all of her points, it just points out that to more defamation. Because Gura simply is not these things, and she doesn't behave in the way she's describing her as.
Character is a child, but they slap the label, oh, it's 9,000 years old, but she still does the really high-pitched voice, and then also uses imagery on her Twitter.
Again, it's pedophilia when pedophilia and children when the woman has a high-pitched voice.
Of her as a kindergartner, literally in a Japanese kindergarten uniform.
I'm sorry. Actually, I have to interject. This is not a preschooler uniform. This is a grade schooler uniform. You uncultured hag.
Along with all these images that are sexualized of this child character. I also brought up some statistics and talked about Japan's culture a little bit in that video, and it was generally pretty educational.
That's a big overstatement. Generally pretty educational, linking to sources that debunk themselves, linking to things that aren't actual proper research on any of the topics that you claim to have researched. And then there's more to this. There's a whammy to this. You're gonna see.
And I made 2 of these videos. The second one was to clarify my points in the first one, and that one, the second one, is the one that got my YouTube account terminated. The reasoning that YouTube gave was that I was putting children in danger. The entire point of that video was to showcase why lollycon is wrong, why it's wrong to sexualize children, characters that looked, act, and sound like children, so much so that the formula is replicated over and over. Even on streaming sites like Twitch, there's even guys doing it to make money.
Guys pretending to be lollies, yeah, sure. Come on. You have better arguments than this, but not much better, but still.
So basically, YouTube nuked my entire account because I showed very censored images.
They are. See, here's where the problem fucking lies. I've seen those videos. I've seen them thoroughly, and they weren't very censored videos. The images that she shown in them showcased not only lollycon, they also showcased toddlercon, and the censorship on them was more or less almost non-existent. It was to the point where you could clearly see what was going on. And if you've been on YouTube for even like a month or so, if you're a creator that actually looks into that stuff, you would know how YouTube reacts to anything that's remotely sexual being shown on their platform. There have been tons of YouTube channels covering censorship of sexual material, covering video games that were lewd, covering all kinds of things that had a sexual connotation to them. And whenever these channels showcased anything, even if it was censored quote-unquote properly, these channels could get terminated very fucking fast, like even without any strikes. Like normally you get 3 strikes and then you're gone, but in a lot of the cases from the channels that I knew personally, a lot of them just got removed outright, just terminated. That's it. Sometimes even without a warning, like you got no message in the email why it was even terminated. So what she did there is basically playing with fire. Someone that has been on YouTube for years and she did that shit. She only has herself to blame for that. Especially when she talks about like actual real life children and makes the connotation to this. You're basically linking children to porn now. So you should be glad that your channel is back in any sort of way.
Of lollycon, because I needed to demonstrate to the audience for them to understand why it was so gross and why it wasn't just petite women, how it was literal toddlers, like babies you hold in your arms, having terrible explicit things done to them.
And you showed that, and you made the connotation yourself. Why do you think YouTube terminated you first and then reinstated you, which I think is a mistake, because normally this wouldn't happen. It didn't happen to a lot of the channels I know. It's just so fucking silly. YouTube is silly, but you're much sillier. You should have known this. Haven't been on YouTube for such a long time.
And it's very commonplace. You see it all the time on sites like Pixiv, and nothing is done about it. So YouTube has taken the stance that lollycon is wrong, essentially. So all the people who are cheering about me being censored, especially considering that Cover tried to censor me themselves, even though this is freedom of speech and I didn't slander anyone and I provided receipts for everything I said.
Slandering and defamation is when you... It's not when you just say an opinion. You're just saying things that you think are factual and that they're just plain wrong. Like, oh, Gura is acting like a child, and she is a child. That's what you say. This is completely untrue to what Gura's character is and the way Gura acts. This is not... It's just my opinion at this point. Just simply isn't. Dumb woman.
Said, and everything else was just my opinion. I'm sure the people who celebrated my ban would be happy to know that they're saying that the content you like is virtual CP. So that's good, but YouTube really lacks the discernment to be able to tell the content that...
Woman, you don't understand that you basically showed porn on YouTube. And of course porn isn't allowed on YouTube. What do you think? What do you think YouTube would do if you showcased more of that? I mean, that was enough, right? Jesus Christ. And you made the connotation yourself. Why do you think it violates the child safety policy? Because you talk about children, actual children, then you make connotations to these drawings. You're the one that's the problem here. Jesus Christ.
For education and raising awareness versus the content that's promoting that behavior. Before they just nuked my entire account, I had 0 strikes on it. And this video...
Yeah, that's the same that I was talking about. People were just getting terminated because they showcase loot stuff. It didn't matter if they censored it. The censoring on some of the channels I knew was a lot better than what she did, which is what she did is basically scribbling. Like, it's just, it looks like a fucking grade schooler drew all over these fucking drawings, and that's her quote-unquote fucking censorship in those videos. Just, come on.
Is 2 years old. They had plenty of time to review it, and in fact, they did review it about 3 or 4 times before suddenly changing their mind 2 years later.
No, someone caught up with your fucking stupidity. Bots didn't check it at that time, and then someone manually reviewed it, and oh, I think this is a pretty big oopsie. I think it's time to remove that. Come on, it's your own fault at this fucking point.
To strike my account for speaking out against predatory behavior. And I couldn't even reach out to Team YouTube on Twitter, which is the primary way people get their strikes removed, because I'm locked out on Twitter. As of this moment, I'm still locked because of the Eliza Blue situation. So basically, YouTube is not condoning anti-predator content, but they are also policing any sort of lollycon that's going on.
They're policing porn because it doesn't belong on YouTube unless it's, again, these weird quote-unquote educational art channels which show disgusting 3D PD porn in the guise of some kind of artistic performance. It's wild. YouTube is wild, and the rules are inconsistent. But when it comes to them knocking down porn that they don't like, yeah, that's pretty consistent as far as I'm concerned.
Directly on the platform. I personally don't think lollycon's freedom of speech. I don't think it's anybody's right to sexualize children. And that predatory behavior is being normalized more and more as time.
All art is art. Doesn't matter if you find it disgusting or not. If the art was made based on real children that actually exist, a real life, flesh and bone and blood child, yeah, that's making CP, but other than that, nope, that's just imagination. You can find it gross, you can find it disgusting, but it's still art. It doesn't matter what you think.
Time progresses, to the point where if you even speak up about it, you get dogpiled. I think the difference between art and pornography, like lollycon, is that art has multiple case uses. You hang it on your wall, it's at a museum, you enjoy the beauty of it, the craft, etc. Pornography just really has one goal, which is to get somebody off. So
that's such a high school or even lower way of thinking. It's completely baffling. There isn't a council sitting anywhere that decides what doesn't have or does have artistic value. Artistic value is applied on a case-by-case basis by the people that make it and by the people that consume it. For some people, let's say this one dot on a canvas is just bullshit. That's not art. But for the artist, maybe, or maybe for some other people, it is. It's a form of artistic expression, and then to them it means something. This is a complete non-argument that she's trying to make, that pornography cannot be art, or that, you know, that art has to have multiple purposes in order to be considered art. That's completely erroneous, and it's completely out there as an opinion.
That's really the difference. That's why you don't see people going to museums and jerking off.
Oh, you haven't seen any artistic performances by experimental theatrical groups that... oh, I won't even get into it, because to me it's disgusting, but to them it's art, and I guess it is some kind of artistic expression to them. So again, it's art. It may be disgusting, maybe off-putting, but it is some kind of art. It doesn't need to be even on a canvas to be considered art. There's just so many ways to express yourself after all.
So I do think that art is free speech, and I also think that anti-predator content is free speech and shouldn't be censored. I'm glad that I'm back so I can post this huge video I made on YouTube tomorrow. But in those 2 hours where I was banned and I didn't know what I was going to do with my life, I realized how important alt tech is. So I definitely
But yeah, that's her video, and the rest is basically begging for follows and getting completely unstriked on YouTube. But it wouldn't be Brittany Venti's channel without like a proper comment section on her YouTube video. So let's take a look at that before we go and enjoy ourselves with something more productive than this. Let's see. I don't know why pedophilia is celebrated by the left and why every major corporation is in on it. You know, I wasn't a Christian. I thought you Christians were crazy when you talk about money being evil and people worshipping Satan. And I saw Lil Nas X grinding on Satan's dick. Gay people singing about coming for your kids and major corporations silencing people that brought up this topic up. I think I was wrong. There actually is a war against Christianity. It's pretty clear that Satanism is a real thing, not just made up by crazy Christians. And it's pretty clear that this generally is a plot by the elite to subvert American values and destabilize the country. Sorry for calling Christians conspiracy theorists, but the evidence is too overwhelming for me to ignore anymore. It's just difficult to accept this reality because it basically means we're in a James Bond movie with evil supervillains. And there really isn't anything any of us can do about it. So it was easier to just pretend it wasn't happening, because the reality of powerlessness and hopelessness is demoralizing. Full hat. Absolutely abhorrent that you were banned from calling out creep behavior that targets children. These people are evil. You can see it on them. That stuff that eats at the soul. As an ex-anime kid, lolly slash shota was always effed. And it was never accepted like Yuri slash yaoi. Oh, brother. Like, I don't know how young you were for that to actually be a thing. The demonization of lolly shota and lollycon and shotacon content is a completely new thing. It's only a few years old. Such a thing was almost unheard of back in the day. 10, 15 years ago, no one bothered with such a fucking discussion. Whenever anyone showed up and wanted to make a big stink about, you know, the little fictional anime girl or the little fictional anime boy, they were quickly chased off and called names for being a stick in the mud that cares too much about fiction. I'll continue on. Only truly despicable people like the idea of an adult in a child's body. Man. What about the real adults that, you know, have these bodies that can be mistaken for children? Isn't that body shaming at that point? But moving on. The Supreme Court has already ruled on lollycon years ago. This is an extremely bad hill to die on. Yes, it's an ugly situation, but until morality is restored within the United States, you must be much more careful about what battles to fight until such a time. Especially with so much going on right now. For God's sake, they're targeting 9-year-old kids in Christian schools, and if they're as if they're Al Qaeda terrorists. And crazy thing at the time, and their plans of more dangerous crazy to go around. At least this person is telling her to focus on some real issues, as you know, as weird as that comparison is. I subscribed to Saturday Doll on Rumble. I wasn't a fan of anime in general because of the perverted stuff. I like Death Note, and I'm a Dragon Ball fan. But in spite of the junky stuff, I didn't like the clothless scenes in movies such as The Godfather or Serpico, where I was fast forward or look down to hear the dialogue, and there's other sounds, and I skip the whole scene. That sounds like some personal issues you need to work through if nudity bothers you so much, but you know, it's your own sensibilities, I guess. Thank you for taking a stand for decency. This is such a puritanical point of view. I believe we have the freedom to do what we ought, which includes striving for purity and chastity, as opposed to being a slave to lust. Been praying for you in my rosary, Brittany. I hope you have a happy Easter. God bless you and yours. Gawr Gura and the other gaggle of weird degenerates in the Hololive conglomerate know exactly what they're doing. They all do the tired old haha aren't I being coy when I allude to sexual jokes on stream for my pathetic Sim Peter file fan base. Haha. I have a feeling that YouTube has a lolly appreciator working on their moderation team, and it's this one employee that decided to strike your channel. Any normal person would have understood the context and considered your censored images PG rated. I can't even show these images because my channel would be in danger if I did. I mean, that video that she actually posted is already unavailable, so take it as you will. But it really wasn't very good censorship at fucking all, and sure as fuck isn't PG with what the fuck she's been showing there. It really does seem like lolly is being more normalized online. What's really weird and creepy are the excuses guys make, like it's just a drawing, bro. No one's getting hurt. Such a stupid defense because it's still depicting kids being sexualized. I like anime, but the lolly shit makes me want to nuke Japan a third time. The most normal anime enjoyer. Yeah, I agree. Time to ban all action movies everywhere. We can't be training people brains to accepting violence like this. Clown emoji. It's cartoon CP. Lolly shit is made for complete degenerates. It should be banned. Same with porn in general. Yeah, and Japan should be nuke, I guess, according to this person. Anime is pedo. Thank you. Hi Venti, you should care more about in real life children, not fucking fiction characters. And then she replied, don't care, still censorship and still not healthy. A very compelling set of arguments. Should have added, oh, this gives me more video views than regular, so I'm gonna talk about. I think that's the best argument. Oh, and jealousy too. Don't forget how many times she repeats how not jealous she is about these VTuber streamers. There must be a goblin squad of pedos slash as would J's. Shouldn't this be SJWs? Is this something new? Am I not up to date with the culture war? I need to brush up. Who are working at YouTube and going after people who call out their fetishes. And yeah, there's some comments here and there that actually call her bullshit out. But is she gonna respond to them? Of course she isn't. Again, all the attention, all the views that she's gonna get, it's any positive attention. Considering the people that she gets as her fans, other than the non-simps, I could have included the simp comments, but they were a bit too embarrassing to include. But there was a lot of you look so beautiful today, Brittany. Your eyes shine so much and bright. You can go look them up yourself, in case you think I'm lying about this. Because, again, Brittany, the person that claims she has no simps, she has plenty of them, and they are as brainless as you think a simp would be. But for now, that's everything. I sure hope to God she doesn't make more videos like this, but I know she will. So my hopes are completely unfounded, and they will be shattered with time. But if she wants to make that content, so will I, because you know, stupidity begets stupidity. But for now, that's everything, and I hope to see you on the next one.